Okay, we are going to walk through the Roborock app together. We're going to start by adding our robot. So this is my home page and it is prompting me to add the device. So I'm going to press on that. And it's telling me to scan the QR code. Now the QR code is going to be under this top panel here. So I'm going to lift this up. It comes right up. It's magnetized. And let's find the QR code. Right, we're going to set up our network. Press and hold power and dock buttons. They're the two buttons that are on the front of the robot. So I'm going to hold them for 3 seconds.
Resetting Wi-Fi.
All right, and I'm going to say that I have heard it. And press next. Make sure it is on the 2.4 gigahertz or 2.4/5 gigahertz mixed Wi-Fi. You don't want just 5 gigahertz. It will not work. Next. Okay, we're going to connect to the device. Tap the button below. And it's looking for my device. Then I'm going to give it permission to connect.
Connecting to Wi-Fi. Stand by.
You have to agree. So it has taken me to this screen. I'm going to select quick mapping. And it gives me some instructions here. I need to open the doors, clear the floors of obstacles, not mess with the robot. So that means it's just going to roam around the house and internally map my home. I'm going to press OK.
Starting mapping.
And now it's going to map my house. And this will take a few minutes. Depending on the size of your floor plan, it could take 5 to 10 minutes. My house is rather small, so I don't expect it to take very long. Now that we have our Roborock all set up, it's connected to my device. This will be the first screen that you see. In the center, you're going to have a picture of your robot. Depending on what state your robot is in, it will be either in its dock or active and moving about. Or if it's currently having its mop pad washed, you will see an animation for that. So you're going to see something different depending on what your robot is up to at the moment. At the top right, we have this speech bubble here. So if I open that, I'm going to see my notification control panel. I've got all these different types of messages I can receive. The sharing message would be if someone else in the household is also controlling the robot, any messaging that we need to do will occur here. And then device notifications, that's going to be my notification history. So it's going to tell me anytime that my phone received a notification about something that's up with the robot, that whole history will be there. And we'll go back home. So here I have a tiny little camera. That is going to be for remote viewing. There are a couple of ways you can access this from the app. That's one of them here on the home page. We're going to go over that in a minute. Below that, you have something called routines. I don't have any active right now, so we can create one. A routine is just an area of the house and a type of cleaning that I have preset. So right now they're all grayed out with little plus signs on them. I can add them, but I'm going to push this one more. And that's going to take me to the place where I can create routines. Down here, there are recommended routines. These are ones that have already been preset for me, so I can just use default settings. The one I want to use is deep. I'm going to push add. It's up here at the top. So I push those little dots and I can click edit. So let's take a look at what's going on with deep. You're going to see full, room, and zone. You're going to see that in a few different places on the app. Full means the entire map. So the whole area that the robot has mapped when we set it up, that whole area is going to get cleaned. Room cleaning means what it sounds like. It's a room on the map, and zone cleaning would be a area that I can set myself inside the map in a room. Sometimes people will put that around a dining room table or somewhere where pets are, or if there's a particularly messy part of your house, it would go there. Deep cleaning is set to full. That's the whole map. So I'm going to open that. And it tells me what I'm doing. It's a full cleaning. The suction power is set to turbo. The water flow is high. And it's going to clean it one time on a standard route. So that's a deep cleaning that I can set. How about we make one? So I'm going to click this little plus sign here. And we're going to create our own. Let's do a zone cleaning. So it's going to show me my map where I can set a zone cleaning. So I'm going to push add. I'm going to put it right here in front of my front door. So I can drag this box and I can reshape it. So I can drag it by pulling on the box itself or on this little cross intersection. Or I can grab this diagonal arrow and change the shape of it. And if I decide I don't want to do this at all, I can click that red X. But we're going to go ahead and make it large enough to cover this entranceway. There we go. We're going to hit complete. And we're going to hit complete. So I'm going to call it front door. Because that's a high traffic area. All right, so I have a front door zone clean and I have a deep clean. And now my routines are going to appear here. So if I want to do one, if I want one of these to be activated, I just press it. And it will start that preset area cleaning. Let's move down here. You can see these three icons here on the bottom. I have official store, I have device, and I have profile. Device is highlighted because that's where we are. If I click official store, it will take me to the actual Roborock store where I can purchase new mop heads or even get a different robot vacuum if I wanted. And then profile will show a few important profile pieces of information. Your username will appear at the top. Then you have device sharing, smart speaker, help and feedback, and about us. Those are a little more like legalese type things that would be nice for you to know. We have device sharing. If I had another household member that wanted to be able to control the robot with the Roborock app, I would set that connection up here. I would need their username, and then we would both have access to the robot. Smart speaker is where you're going to see anytime you use a third party like Google Home or Alexa, you would set that up here. And then down at the bottom, you have settings. These are all very high level app settings. You can change the theme, where if it were dark mode or light mode, I would set that here. If I wanted to show a list view of my devices, I would put that there. So now we're going to go into the main dashboard. I can click either on the robot in the middle of the screen or push this enter button. And here's my map. I have the rooms already named and labeled. We're going to do a little editing to this to make it a little more correct. At the top, I see the name of my model, the QRevo Edge. It says that it's charged. It tells me my most recent cleaning job. At the bottom, I have a control panel. It's going to basically be a press and play. Whatever I have highlighted there and set up is going to be what I activate. Up at the top, I have this circle with 3 dots. So I'm going to press on that. And it's going to take me to my settings. I once again have the history, the last time the robot was used. Let's go down the line one by one and take a look at what all of these are. So we have schedules. I'm going to press on that. We have already set up something called a routine. A routine is not the same as a schedule. A routine is an area that is preset and has your suction settings, your mopping settings, the area all figured out. The schedule is when you do the routine. Right now I have an 8 o'clock in the morning on weekdays toggled on for a vac and mop in a room. If I wanted to make a new one, which we will, I would open this. It has start time, how often it repeats, and then I can select the area and the cleaning mode that I want it to have. So the start time will be after everyone is home from everything that they've been doing today. So that's going to be 4 o'clock. Now 4 o'clock is not going to be 4 o'clock because this is 4 o'clock p.m., which actually means that I need to do 1600. Because this goes from 0 to 23, not 1 to 12 twice. So here I go. At 1600 on weekdays. This is when my kids are going to tramp in all of the clay from the yard, and this is a good time to just give it a little brush up. I'm going to do a routine, and fortunately for me, I have already set up a front door routine. So I'm just going to select that and turn that on. And then I'm going to push this check mark here at the top corner. And that's going to save my schedule. So now I have a new one on weekdays to clean the front door at 4 o'clock. Floor cleaning setting. I'm going to open that. Here I can edit the surface. I can edit the carpet cleaning settings, decide whether or not the flexi arm is going to be on, the extended mopping is going to be on, remopping. I can toggle all of these on and off. I like the settings that I have, so I'm not going to mess with those. But how about we open editing the surface real quick? My robot believes that my bathroom is carpeted. It's actually tiled. And so what I'm going to do is select this, make sure that tile is highlighted, and check mark. And that's going to update my map. I could also say that it was carpet if it were reading it wrong. If I wanted to put in a threshold, I could tell the robot that there's a threshold there. Let's add a threshold. You can see that the robot has already sensed some thresholds. These are a couple of chairs and tables that have odd shapes to them, and so it already put some thresholds there. We're going to put this one here because this is a threshold, and if the robot knows it's there, it can get a running start to help it cross over it more efficiently. And there I have a new threshold. So let's do the next one. We have dock settings. I can wash the mop more often, or I can do it between rooms. Washing mode. This is when it adjusts how much water it uses and how long it cleans the mop based on how much dirt there is. I have that toggled on and it's been working just fine. If I wanted to use less or more, I could do that. I have it set to hot water because I do not want it to be smelly, and hot water helps it clean more thoroughly and dry faster. Back in settings, we have reactive obstacle avoidance. I can toggle some things on and off in here. Whenever it encounters an obstacle, it will take a photo of it. Whenever it recognizes my pet, it will take a photo of it and avoid the pet. Maintenance is going to tell me basically how long I have before I need to replace something. So this is a very useful way of sort of seeing how the robot is doing when it's going to need a little routine help. Managing maps. If I had more than one map, I would work them here. I can edit them, make new ones. I only have one level, so that's not going to be necessary. Voice assistant. This is important. So you are actually able to issue verbal commands to the robot. I can use any of these commands to get something quickly done. Let's open this up. Wake the robot up and say, "Hello, Rocky," and then you can say any of these. Start cleaning, vacuum and mop. Up here, you have different types of commands based on what it is you're trying to get the robot to do. You need to say these exactly as they appear here. Otherwise, your robot will not understand you, and you will stand there arguing with it until you get it right. You can also turn this off if you don't like the robot waking up when you didn't mean for it to. Remote viewing settings are here. So this is not a way to access remote viewing, but it is a way to turn it off and on. Call volume is how the robot speaker speaks when you use it to call the house. You can set a password and you can just turn it off altogether if it's not something that you want to use. AI Laboratory, I think, is a feature that is coming. There's only one thing here, and I haven't found it to be necessary. So I think that's perhaps a placeholder for something else that will be added to the app. These are robot settings, button lights on and off, very just mechanical, technical things. Pin and go is very useful. I can open this. I can tap a place on the map and tell the robot to go there. And once the robot has arrived, I can select this other button, Spot Clean, and it will clean an area about 1.5 meters across in a square, which is about 4.5 feet. So if I dropped something or there was a small mess somewhere, I could set the robot over there. It will clean that area and then it will redock itself. Remote control. This works very much like a remote control car would. That top button is forward for the robot. Left button is left for the robot. So you have to imagine it from the perspective of the robot. You can control it with buttons or with a joystick, which you can drag around on the screen. If you did want to guide the robot by hand to a place and then select Spot Clean, that's another way to get it to a spot for a little routine or quick clean. The user manual will take you online. Product info is going to tell you about your Wi-Fi connection, the version of the app you're using, firmware updates. You can toggle this on and off, so it will update automatically. And device sharing. I would set this up with another household member, and this is another way to access that. So we're going to come out of settings now, back to the dashboard. The next thing we're going to look at is this map icon here. So I'm going to open that. I have two tabs here. I have Edit Map and I have Map Details. I'm going to start with Map Details because this is very simple. I have two options for displaying the map. I can either have a 2D map or a 3D map. The 3D map is a setting where it changes the way it's rendered here on the screen. So now I have a 3D version of my house. It's nice, but I haven't found that I like the 3D. So I will go back to 2D. And down here, you see these icons for features on the map. I can toggle these on and off. That's all this is. So if I click room name, all of the room names will disappear. And it just changes the way it's displayed. Editing the map, I can set no-go zones. I can edit the furniture. I can edit the room, and I can edit the surface. So I'm going to start with no-go zones. I have a place by the wall here where the robot gets stuck every single time. I have a small table there that has weird feet, and it's very close to the wall, and it has something like a threshold, and my robot does not like it at all. So what I'm going to do is add a no-go zone. I can either add an invisible wall, which would appear like this, and it would just keep the robot from going somewhere altogether. I don't want that, so I'm going to click this X. I'm going to add a no-go zone. So this is going to appear in red. It looks like a zone like you would clean. You control it the same way, but it's in red. This means that the robot will not go here. Now it's going to remind you at the top that you cannot put a no-go zone in front of the dock so that the robot is able to return home. That's important. I'm going to put it here because this area has given the robot and me a lot of trouble. It's a very small table, and I'm going to put it right there, but it can't be too close to the dock. And I'm going to click the check mark. And it will appear on my map, as you can see. Now we're going to edit the room. My robot mapped my house so that the dining room is one large area, when in fact there is a living room and a kitchen in here. That means that this space is too large. It's not really one room. It's really 3 rooms, but we're going to cut it in half. So we're going to have a kitchen dining area and then separate that from the living room. And in order to do that, I'm going to click divide. I'm going to select the dining room because it's very large. This automatically appears here. I can move it around, but it's pretty much right where I want it. So we're going to put that there and click the check. Now I have 2 rooms. They're calling this the kitchen, which is fine with me. And they're calling that a room. So I'm going to name the room. We're going to call that the living room. And now that's the living room. So I have a kitchen and a living room, which is going to be a lot easier. So if I was going to set a routine where I wanted to clean just the kitchen, now I can do that without it cleaning the entire living area or for me setting up a specific zone. We're all done editing, so let's go back. Edit furniture. Here I have a few options for furniture. I'm going to say I should probably put my sofa here because the robot is always having to go around the sofa. So now a sofa has appeared. I can turn it with this circle arrow, move it with the cross arrows, and make it larger with the diagonal arrows. Same as the other stuff. And if I wanted to delete it, I would press the X. And then let's put the bed in the bedroom. Using the same controls. And check mark. If I wanted to edit the surfaces, I would do that here. We have already edited that elsewhere, but I could do that here as well. The other small icon here underneath the edit map icon is for the remote viewing. If I open that, it's going to activate the remote on my robot, and then I'm going to see my living room. There's a couple of things I can do from here. I can pin and go, which we've already looked at. It's the same mechanism, and I will pin it to the map, and my robot would go there. I could have it cruise around the house, or I could have it look for the pet. If I can't find the pet, which has happened in the past, then you can take over with remote control. So there are icons here on the right for moving backward and forward, and there are icons here on the left for turning. And you would view it through the video, and you can move about the house with your camera on. Now, inside the house, the robot, say I was doing this from somewhere else, from inside the house, the robot will alert whoever is in the house that the camera is on. So it will say that the remote viewing is activated, and it will continue repeating that until you turn it off so that no one in the home is surprised. If I wanted to make a phone call, I can actually make a call through the robot by clicking on that green phone button. They advertise this as being a way to talk to your pets. If my pet were not afraid of everything, I would do that, but I don't believe that would make her very happy. If I want to get out of here, I'm going to go back by clicking this arrow up on the top left. So the last thing we're going to cover is this control panel here at the bottom. This is the panel where whatever is highlighted, if I press play, it will do whatever's been highlighted. So currently I have it on full and customize. If I wanted to set it to any of these others, then I would do this. Say I want a vacuum only. I would click that. And now if I pushed play, it will vacuum the whole house. If I'm going to click this again, if I set it to mop, I could change the water flow, how many times it cleans, change the route. All of that would happen here. Vacuum and mop, those settings would appear. And then smart plan. So if you set it to smart plan, it will use AI to determine the best cleaning pattern. I used it to see what it would change because I was curious. Ordinarily, it would start as soon as it left its dock and just go around the first room and move through the house more or less in order. But when I set the smart plan on, it started in the bedroom and then went to the bathroom, and then it cleaned the dining room, kitchen area twice. So it was using whatever artificial intelligence it has to change the way it cleaned the house based on something that I don't understand. I don't use it because I find that a second cleaning in that room is more than I want. But if you just want the robot to do what it thinks is best and you trust the robot, then that's how you would do that one. I'm going to set it back to vacuum and mop because that's how I like to set it for default. Also here with suction power, there is balanced, turbo, and max. Balanced means that it changes based on the surface. So it will be lower or higher, depending on if it's carpet or hard floor. Quiet means it will run on its lowest setting. Say you're running it at night while people are asleep or during nap time or something like that. So we've talked about this. Full means the whole map. Rooms, I can select the kitchen. And if I press play, it will vacuum and mop the kitchen. Same with zones. If I told it, just clean this area, say here, then I press play, it will vacuum and mop per the settings that are in there, just that zone. And then it will redock when it's finished. I can select one of my routines and press play, and then it'll just start vacuuming. This is an extra little section of video that I wanted to make to point something out to you when the robot is in motion. So right now the robot is cleaning my living room. I have a control panel at the bottom that looks the same, but because the robot is in motion, it's going to have a few different features on it. So I can press that pause button and it will just stop the robot and it will await further instructions. If I press dock, it will cancel the job and return to its dock. If I press vac and mop, that brings my settings back up and I can adjust those. Add area and skip area is what I want to point out to you. So add area will pull up a zone. Now right now it's doing a full clean, so it's not really going to make a difference if I add a zone. Skip area, if I press OK, it's going to move to the next room and it will not clean the living room. So that's good to know. I at first thought it meant just get out from under the table or stop that small area, but it really means the entire room.